And for the big one, here's the huge majority of my quad albums, the SQ albums. I'm going to start a few ones here. Here's the Fisher Fidelity Standard album, a sample album of pop music, classical pieces on side 2, and side 1 are pop original, are popular favorites and original tracks. Here's what it looks like on the inside as the gatefold. And you can play this in stereo or 4-channel, and they mention SQ. This is where the SQ comes in. Would be nice someday to have the famous Tate or that new Involved Surround Master SQ decoder. Those are totally full logic. I've heard some great stories about those. Surely beats the Sony SQ1000. Anyway, side 1's got an introduction by Avery Fisher, the founder of Fisher Radio, to whom we've got this receiver you see in the background here is founded. Anyways, it's got an introduction, sound demonstrations, an original piece by Otello, composed by Emmanuel Bardi, a traditional gospel tune, Rock My Soul, Jazzy Jack doing Vera Jacques. Is a new arrangement in 4-channel SQ. Then we've got the Beatles. Then we have a cover of the Beatles' Let It Be. And then we've got a song for Lynn, a jazz piece. Then we've got a Dixieland track called That's a Plenty. And finally, Soul Drift by Pauline Barty. Oh, then we've got Soul Drift, sung by a vocalist named Marsha. Now, side 2 is strictly classical, and they suggest that you turn down your rear channels. Classical pieces in SQ tend to have reverberation on the rear channels. I'll discuss that later since we're in the SQ portion of my video. Now we go to Project 3. This is a test record for SQ. Side 1's got a lot of testing with 2 channels, 4 channels, and then side 1. Okay, take 2. Okay, here we go with Project 3 Popular Science doing a test record to set up, collaborate, and check out your quadraphonic system. This is for SQ. They made one for CD4. Side 1 deals with technical checkouts and testing. Here we see in the gatefold cover to check to see if the balance of your speakers and see if they're in phase. And then side 2's a sample of tracks similar to that CD4 SQ album I showed you previously. This one has from that album, When the Saints Go Marching In, Galloping Guitars, The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, St. Thomas Everybody, and 2 tracks, a cover of Crosby, Stills and Nash. She's hit Marrakesh Express and String of Pearls. And what's really nice about this, each of these tracks have a diagram of what instruments are in each channel you expect to hear on each channel. Or supposedly, depending on your decoder. Sometimes SQ works sometimes, but then sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the mixes. And I'm hearing that it's got a lot of bleeding from the track, crossover bleeding. Certain channels bleed over to other channels. Oh well. Nothing's perfect. It's a great album. It's great for testing up and setting up SQ. And this is another rare Christmas album. This is from Magnavox. Teaming up with the Columbia Special Products. And it's got some great tracks from the artists of Columbia, Lynn Anderson, the late Lynn Anderson, doing Frosty the Snowman, Patti Page doing Jingle Bells. This got Tony Bennett doing 2 songs, I Love the Winter Weather and I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm. E. Parabix doing The Holly and the Ivy. Percy Faith and his orchestra and chorus doing I Wonder As I Wonder. Peter Nero doing a track from the Nutcracker. And on side 2, Oh Holy Night. You have Richard Tucker doing Oh Little Town of Bethlehem. And from Man of La Mancha's the late Richard Keeley doing Finest. Oh. Anyways, this is a great album. It's surprised to see that it's an SQ, but you can play that in stereo. Okay, next I've got a an album in SQ by Vanguard Recording Society. This is Handel and highlights of the piece Messiah from the English Chamber Orchestra and the Amor Artis Chorale, conducted with the chorus master John McCarthy. Johannes Samari is the conductor. We have vocalist Margaret Price as a soprano, Alexander Young a tenor, Justino Diaz is doing bass, Philip Jones the solo trumpeter, and on harpsichord and organ, Cullen Tilney. You got all the many of the pieces, including the famous Hallelujah chorus, and For unto us a son is born. And we've got 6 minutes. Now we go to the London. Now we go. We got one more. I've got one more. Actually, I've got 3 albums conducted by the English Chamber Orchestra, conducted by Johannes Samari. This piece is this album is Martin Berenbaum doing Baroque pieces. He was the great young trumpet virtuoso, doing pieces from Haydn, Albinoni, Torelli, Hummel. And this piece, excuse me, this album's got this is in 4-channel, 4 tracks, 4 pieces. And here's our last album for Vanguard. And the final Vanguard album in SQ I have are 2 pieces by George Friedrich Handel, the Royal Fireworks Music with no strings. All bassoons, contrabassoons, serpents, trumpets, horns, and oboes. And the water music. And this is by the Johannes Samari doing the conducting again with the English Chamber Orchestra. We got a little gatefold cover. Interesting photo of how they recorded this, probably in stereo, and they just remixed it to SQ Quad. A little backstory regarding the Royal Fireworks Music. For years on KCOP here in Los Angeles, I watched the Hollywood Bowl summer finale with Alex Trebek, and at the end of the final piece for each program, they would play the the Royal Fireworks by Handel, and I learned that Handel used no strings whatsoever for that piece. Just horns, bassoons, oboes, a lot of brass and woodwind pieces. Very nice and sounds great in SQ. Now I move on to the big bulk of my quad collection. It's all Columbia. You'll see that shortly. But I just want to get this out of the way. That's all of the Vanguard. Now I move on to labels that I have very few. And I will tell you up front that most of my SQ albums are on Columbia. But here's another one from Project 3, Total Surround. It's got Enoch Light and the Light Brigade doing big bands from the 30s and 40s. This is an exciting album. It's got I'll Never Smile Again, Tuxedo Junction, Marie, the famous Sing 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 by Benny Goodman. A lot of great stuff. And the sound, the quad remixes is fantastic. Sounds great in stereo too. Here's all the credits, and then we've got the dancers here. Think of Swing, the movie Swing Kids or the Zoot Suit era. A lot of great album, a lot of great music. Stuff you want to, music you want to act. Okay, now we go on to the Angel label, and it's easy to find. And if you're in a thrift store or record stores and you happen to find an Angel album, you look at this little logo here. That tells you easily that it's an SQ album. Got a little familiar SQ logo right here. But this tells you all Angel albums are identified, or all Angel SQ albums are identified by this trademark. So when you find these albums and you get a bonus. You expect stereo, but you also get an SQ album. Anyhow, we've got Herbert von Karajan conducting the Berlin Philharmonic, doing Sibelius's Finlandia, inside all these pieces. Well, Sibelius doing Finlandia, Insaga, Tapiola, and The Swan of Tunela. Nice album. I haven't heard it much, so still great music. And we got the famous Beethoven's Fifth by Eugene Joachim and the London Symphony Orchestra. And a little bonus. You can zoom in here. You got this came from the warehouse back when it was still open. It was sold for $6.99. And this sounds great in SQ. And I got Peer Gynt by Grieg. And this is the complete incidental music, including some choruses, and that sounds great. Oh, anyway, there's something funny. You have the SQ logo here, but yet there's no indication. I always check the albums to make sure that these are in SQ, and this one apparently is no indication. Oh well. So what's in regular stereo? You can still play them in SQ anyway. Next I've got John von Karajan again doing Strauss waltzes, like the Blue Danube, Emperor Waltz, the overtures to the Fledermaus and the Gypsy Baron, the Trish Trash or polka, and the Annan polka. There's that logo again. And is this an SQ? Yep. Sometimes you have to look at the labels inside to see if you're getting the real deal. nice picture of Johann Strauss. Not sure if this is senior or junior or whoever. And here's a nice piece, Respighi's Ancient Airs and Dances by the late Neville Marriner, who passed away recently, conducting the Los Angeles Chamber Orchestra. Beautiful piece, beautiful artwork here. The three little muses dancing. Great music by Respighi. And it's an SQ. You should hear it's Pines of Rome. Sounds great. And for all of you Elizabethan Renaissance fans, we got music from contemporary Elizabethan concert. Music by Dallin Purcell, Paisable, that's how you pronounce it. Vaughan Williams, Warlock, Richardson, that was the clock. And this is conducted by the Early Music Consort of London, directed by the late David Monroe. It's a wonderful album and wonderful album with great Renaissance music. And even better in quad or stereo. Nice Angel label. And Vanguard doing Schubert's Unfinished Symphony No. 8 and Rosamond Overture and Ballet music. Little backstory regarding Schubert's No. 8. I first heard that piece in a cartoon Boo Bop from Casper the Friendly Ghost, where Casper visits Franz Schubert, and he's trying his hardest to finish the Unfinished Symphony. But Casper helps out in the end, and of course, all ends well. Uh-oh, this is says it's in stereo, but in parentheses, it's as an SQ. I can't. You can see it well. Let me just take this out. Careful not to touch the grooves here. It's in stereo, but it says in parentheses, you can't see it well, as it says SQ. It's another great album by Vanguard and the Berlin Philharmonic. Next, we've got some music from Ravel. Jean Martinton and the Orchestra of Paris doing the Mother Goose Suite. Beautiful cover. Looks like a picture of Sleeping Beauty. And we got pieces by Ravel. There we go. And last but not least, Respighi again doing The Birds with 3 Botticelli pictures. Of course, earlier, let me just regress here. This is almost like a Respighi party here. Yes, I forgot about The Birds, and that's composed. That's the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields, conducted by the late great Neville Marriner. 3 pieces. We've got The Birds, and 3 on side 1, and side 2 has got 3 Botticelli pictures, including the second piece, The Adoration of the Magi. Is perfectly suited for Christmas. And there we have it with the Angel SQ albums. Oh, one more. Another dollar treasure from Amoeba Music in Hollywood.